Okay, welcome to Summer Mindset Reset, where you're reading together The Game of Conquering by Rob Sperry. And hopefully, you have read the introduction through chapter 4 and are prepared to discuss the book tonight. So, this will be discussion based. We'll go for about 45 minutes. We'll try not to go over that, especially since we've already been on an hour-long Zoom right before this. But this book is hands down the best mindset book specifically for network marketers that I have ever read. And as a special treat, I'm really pleased to share with you guys that I got in touch with the author of the book, and he is going to come and do a call for us when this book study is over. So I'm really excited to meet with Rob Sperry virtually and for us to get to interact with him and ask him any questions and hear from him. That is going to be so fun. So I have actually not just read this book, I read his other book too, The Game of Networking, and I've kind of binged his podcast and his content. He's super sharp, definitely a top industry earner and expert. And he is a network marketing trainer at this point who travels all over the world training network marketers to just achieve extraordinary things. And I love hearing his content. So he travels all over the place. And so he sees, network marketing, issues that come up no matter what company you are in. Like it literally, the challenges that we face, they're kind of unanimous, right? And so that's why I loved hearing his perspective in this book, because he just has a lot of value to add about things that he notices people in network marketing struggle with, especially in regards to their mindset. So let me summarize real quick what he says are the differences between a victim mindset, a survivor mindset, and a conqueror mindset. So, and then I'm going to ask you some questions, and then we're going to discuss. Okay. So a victim is somebody who blames their circumstances or other people for their lack of results instead of taking ownership and looking within and knowing that it's their results are because of them, their results are up to them. When they're not getting their way or they feel frustrated, they're looking for someone or something outside of themselves to blame for their lack of progress or their lack of results. A survivor is very different than a victim. A survivor is not necessarily blaming other people, but they're very focused on not quitting instead of being focused on winning and thriving. A survivor is the type of person who shows up to every single call, is at every single event, and they see the vision and they know that what's possible because they've seen other people do it, so they know it's possible, but they actually lack inner confidence about themselves. They constantly compare themselves to people around them, and oftentimes their actions don't reflect their goals. They think about their business a lot. They feel very frustrated about their lack of growth, but they don't do anything different to change it. They don't do much income producing activity, or maybe they do the income producing activity, but it's not working, and they won't take the time to actually conquer it and figure it out so that they can win or thrive. And oftentimes they feel weak and just not worthy of the success that they want or the success that they see other people having. Conqueror mindset, these people take massive action in order to win. They are very focused on doing whatever it takes to thrive, not just survive and get by or have mediocre or be average, but they want to win. They want to thrive. They want to be very successful. They see difficulty as opportunity for growth. They show gratitude for their hard experiences because they know that those are the things that help them to grow. And they seek to inspire change in other people because of the change that they have seen in themselves. So they know it's possible because they're doing it. And they know they're nobody special. And that inspires them to spread the message that, hey, I'm nobody special and I'm doing it. you can change too. You can be successful too. They take complete accountability. They know that their result is made up of a series of their own actions. And that's true about the past, as far as their, their past actions creating their current result. But they also know it's true about the future, that a series of actions is what is going to lead to their future result. So a victim mindset, they're kind of like a losing mindset. A survivor mindset, they kind of have a mediocre mindset, and they think that good enough is good enough. But a conqueror mindset is a winner's mindset. Conquerors do not settle for good enough. They're always learning. They're always working on their skill set. They want to be an example of what's possible. And so they think thoughts on purpose. They think thoughts on purpose that are going to drive their feelings, that are going to benefit them and help them take action toward the life they want to create. Now, I want to preface all of this discussion by saying that it is normal to be all three of these at once, because in different areas of your life, you might be all three at once. But which one do you spend the most time in generally? I think we could even go between all three of these in a single day, maybe even in a single hour, but you know intuitively where you spend the most time in your mindset. Is it playing the victim and blaming others for your lack of results? Is it telling yourself that good enough is good enough, or just being constantly frustrated because you feel like what you're doing is not working and you're doing all the things? Or is it the winning mindset where you know that your results are completely up to you? You know which one you spend the most time in generally. All right, so in chapter 1, he says, we all have struggles. We all face adversity, heartache, pain, suffering, but it's what we do after the adversity that makes all of the difference. It's taking the experience, learning from it, and discovering how it can help in all areas of our lives, including our businesses. So here's the first question for tonight. Name a time that you took a very difficult experience, you learned from it, and can now see how it has helped you be resilient in your business.
That question makes me laugh out loud because there are so many. There are so many. One time I had missed a rank by 3 points, senior Ruby, but except I told my team we thought we had earned it, and so we announced it and celebrated it the whole 9 yards, and then woke up the next day and actually missed senior Ruby by a person. Actually, it was like 3 points or something, by less than a person. So not only did I not hit the rank, but then I had to go back and tell my team that also we did not hit the rank. But good news is, I mean, I think everybody, if you hit every goal you ever set, you're not setting goals that are big enough. And so I learned the lesson of what it was like to go for something and not achieve it. And then I also had to eat a few slices of humble pie, because also sometimes I tend to think I'm greater than I am. So just a good reminder that I'm not. But I mean, that's just one of a million examples of, taking something that's big and massive. I mean, I can think of a billion times in my personal life too. I mean, I've been divorced. I've had tragic death in my family. Like, I've had things that some people, it would crush them. And I mean, even if it's just like literally being able to whittle up one little breathing hole, I'm just committed to not just surviving, but like figuring out how to not let it beat me, how to win. So
yeah, that's so good. I was wondering if you were going to say anything about your personal life and how that has translated into resilience in your business, because I absolutely think it has. And you are pretty great, Christina. You are.
Oh, I'll go.
Okay, tell me.
My best friend who started working this business with me, who got really close to Emerald. I mean, she was like 1,000 points maybe. Anyway, she quit working the business. And so that was really hard, because I thought, there's no way I could do this without her. Like, we did this together. We started at the same time. We went Emerald and like really, really quick, but it was like a team effort. And so what I learned from that was, well, first off, I have lost rank and I have re-ranked and I have lost rank and I have re-ranked. So I got this whole re-ranking thing down pat. Like I know how to create a 700, 800 more points. Okay. I have mastered it. So what I've learned is I don't have to have one specific person. Like I know what to do to create new business builders.
I love that. So good, Terry. Anybody else?
Well, I mean, I could talk all night on this subject. But one of my favorite, I think probably one of the most pivotal in my journey was when I had earned Ruby Retreat the first time I hit Ruby, and then I did not earn Ruby Retreat the second year. And everybody knows like going to these things is like my thing, my favorite thing. Everybody fully expected me to be there. I was getting messages, oh, I can't wait to see you. And I'm like, you're not going to. So, it was super fun. And it was at corporate, like in Phoenix that year, which was the worst to miss, but it was hard and I thought I was going to die, but I didn't die. And what I did was dug in and figured some things out. And I read a book. If you're not reading books, do that. Dare to Lead is what I read, and light bulb after light bulb for things going off. And I just dug in and digged in, whatever. Anyways, I changed some things, and it changed some things in my business. And I was at Ruby Retreat next year. So you won't die when things are hard if you choose to take the right actions after, the disappointment and all the things, the adversity. So, yeah.
Totally agree. Well, I love that we have such strong, resilient leaders on this team. And so what you guys are all saying, which all of you who just shared were jewels. So you're saying that you have to keep going. You have to keep going. You're going to fall down sometimes. You're going to miss goals, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You have to be resilient. And I echo what Christina was saying about things in personal life. Like I can tell you a lot of stories of things in my personal life that have helped me be resilient in my business. Like I also went through a divorce. I was rejected by a man that I loved deeply. Like I just wanted to be with him forever, but he was unfaithful to me over and over and over. And so just facing that rejection, it was painful, but it helped me be tough here. Not that I like rejection now, but I also like it still stings. I don't think rejection will ever sting, but will ever not sting, but you just know that the world keeps spinning. Like life goes on, and it's not the worst thing that could happen. So it has helped me develop resilience in my business, just some things that I have been through in my life. All right, next question. He says, no one has ever accomplished anything worthwhile and said, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. So my question is, what's your most worthwhile accomplishment ever? And it doesn't have to be business, but it could be business. Most worthwhile accomplishment ever. And was it easier or harder than you thought it was going to be?
Okay, guys, so like super, super vulnerable. I'm not gonna be able to do this without crying. My most worthwhile accomplishment ever was gaining and maintaining my sobriety. I tried that for like 10 years and I kept falling down and falling down and falling down. And, got to a point where I was convinced that that's how I was going to die. I was never going to have it. And so for me, like that accomplishment, but it's not even like, it's not mine, right? I give that credit to God. I don't know why he did, why he decided I was worth that. But it taught me, like I can so identify with this survivor mentality and so much of this, but it taught me how much good is just on the other side of what feels like hell. If I'm willing to give up the way I've been doing something and try something new.
That's good. So was it easier or harder than you thought it would be?
Surviving that way was harder than I ever knew it could be. And so my journey in sobriety was as hard as I had always imagined it. Doing the work needed to get to where I had a firm foundation was as hard as I had imagined, and so much more worth it.
Love it. All right. So good. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. Anybody
Um,
else?
I would like to share. I don't even know if y'all can hear me, and this is really out of my comfort zone, but I don't even know how to follow that testimony. But something for me, can y'all hear me okay?
We can hear you, Hannah. Yep.
Okay, sorry. My little toddler's crying in the background. I apologize. But something for me that was like a big accomplishment in my life, and mine's emotional too, was having my little girl. And I know a lot of women can relate to that. And I was told I would never, ever, ever have a baby. Couldn't do it. Wasn't possible. Every doctor I went to specialists. I went to everywhere, and I could not have a baby. And I refused to give up on that. I refused to say no. I refused to lay there and say, okay, I'm just going to accept this and wallow in it, and this is just going to be my fate. I said, no, there's better for this. There's more to this, and there's better to come out of this. And I just refused to give up on it. And I sit here now with a healthy, beautiful 2-year-old baby girl. And it was definitely hard because I had people every day that would say, you can't do it. You know, doctors, you're crazy. Doctors told you it's not possible. Why are you trying to hurt yourself? Your body can't handle it. And I had to look at everybody and say, it's okay. And like she said, I credit that to God, because if he wouldn't have intervened, I couldn't have had what I had. And I refused to give up on that. And that's kind of how I feel like with my business and Plexus, is refusing to give up no matter when people say, I can't afford it, or you're just too pushy, or, you don't know what you're doing, or whatever. I just refuse to give up. And that's going to keep pushing me through to be successful.
That's so good, Hannah. Thank you for sharing that. I'm so happy for you about your little girl. So congratulations on that blessing. So I totally agree that when I think about my biggest accomplishments in my life, whether it be raising my kids or going diamond, those would be big accomplishments, or having a really good marriage 15 years in. I would say while I'm in it, I'm thinking this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. But once I get there and I look back, then I think that wasn't as hard as it should have been for the result that I now have and enjoy. For what I'm currently enjoying and the fruit that I now see, looking back, this should have felt harder than it did. All right, but while you're in it, you don't feel that way. While you're in it, you think this sucks and this is hard and I don't like it, but you just have to keep going. All right, so let's talk about victim mindset. All right, how to tell if you have a victim mindset. Here's your litmus test. Fill in the blank in your head. Don't say this out loud. If it were not for blank, I would be further along in my business by now. Don't answer this out loud. This is rhetorical. But what's the first thing that popped into your mind for that blank? If that blank is anything outside of yourself or outside of your control, you're making yourself a victim. So he says in the book that growth is stagnant when you make yourself a victim. Here's my question. What kinds of excuses, you can just type these in the chat. What kinds of excuses have you heard people make, or maybe you've made these excuses yourself about why they cannot be successful in their business? They don't have time. So they're too busy. They don't have enough money. Nobody wants to do it with them. They can't be successful because of their upline, can't be successful because of their downline, can't be successful because they have too many kids. They don't have enough time. They don't have any experience. They're not social. So something personality related. Can't find the right people. They're not a salesperson. They don't live in a good area for it. It's just harder to grow in their area where they live. They don't have support from their husband or their friends or their family or their kids. Maybe they don't have people who support them. The market is saturated. I've heard that one many times. Upline won't help them, too busy. Kids have too many kids, husband won't support, and on and on and on. Okay. So it's really the same excuses over and over and over. And the thing is that when people make these excuses, but there's so many people out there who could make the same excuse but choose not to, and they go on to be successful anyway. Plenty of people out there who are extremely busy. Plenty of people out there who don't have support from their friends and family and do it anyway. Plenty of people out there who don't have supportive husbands and they choose to be successful anyway. So there's plenty of people out there who could make excuses and don't, and they choose to go on and be successful. So when I think about like a student, like when I think about my kids in school, when they don't get the results they want, they don't get the grade they wanted, they fail a test or whatever, what's the first thing they blame? Or who is the first person they blame? Are they saying, yeah, it was my fault, I really just didn't study and I didn't give it all I got? No, they blame the teacher. They blame the test. They're going to blame something, somebody, anybody, except for themselves. And so when that comes up, I be like, student, are there any other people with that teacher or who took that test who did not underperform? And obviously the answer is always yes, there are other students who have the exact same circumstance that I have, and they did just fine. Okay. So we have to take ownership. All right. So what can you change to create change in your life? What can you change to create change in your business? There's so much that is within your control. Some of it's out of your control, but you can't blame those things or wait for those things to change in order for you to be successful. So how must you grow to create growth? Do you need to care about people more so that you can be better at connecting and understanding what people's needs are so you can genuinely serve them? Maybe you need to quit expecting it to be easy. Maybe you need to stop comparing yourself to everyone around you and thinking that they have it so much easier than you do, and you just do the work. Maybe you need to quit expecting it to feel fun. Maybe you need to learn humility through the process. Maybe you need to grow your level of commitment. Whatever it is, you have to take ownership and you have to change in order to create change in your business or in your life. That's not just about your business. All right, moving on. Next chapter about survivors. So he talks about how survivors are constantly comparing themselves to others. So my question for you guys is, how does comparison keep people stuck?
If you're comparing yourself, you're focusing on what someone else has or is doing, or you're focusing on someone else instead of focusing on yourself, which is what you can control.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%.
I think it fuels the negative conversation in your mind.
Yes.
And you're constantly stuck in that conversation.
Yeah. And is that going to propel you to take massive action to win?
Oh, heck no.
No, no, absolutely not. Because losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning. I heard that quote last year, y'all. It fired me up so much. I had to go make an entire podcast episode about it because it is so true. Comparison keeps people stuck. It keeps people believing that they're not good enough, that this is easier for everyone else. And it keeps you from taking massive action because it slays your belief. All right, here's the next question. Why might somebody go to all the events, be on all the team calls, go to every convention, yet not actually grow their business?
Because they haven't been
not
smacked
taking
in the face
action.
by this book yet.
I'll let Rob know you said that. Rob, you do some face smacking around here. We need some face smacking. What are y'all's thoughts? How is it possible that somebody could show up to every team call, be at every event, go to every convention, and not grow their business?
They're not applying.
Yeah, they're not taking action. They're not implementing. They're avoiding what's uncomfortable. They're not taking action. So they're consuming a lot of information and they'll show up for another day because they do see the vision. Again, they see what's possible for other people. They don't in their heart of hearts believe that it's possible for themselves. And so the vision is strong enough to keep them showing up to calls, but it's not strong enough to propel them to take uncomfortable action and change their situation. All right.
Well, and can I
Oh,
say something for you?
yes. Yes.
And I think the danger in somebody like that is if they show up long enough and come to all the events and take no action, they're going to see other people who show up to these things, who do take action and rank up, and then they'll make that mean something about them. See, this is more evidence of why I can't do this. I've been here just as long as so-and-so and they're flying through the ranks. Like, I want what they have, but they've not been willing to do what they've been willing to do. They've just been willing to be where they've been willing to be, physically or even, virtually, but they're not willing to do what that other person has been willing to do. So it can almost, it'll self-sabotage. So you can't stay. I loved when he said in the book, survivors aren't successful at network marketing because eventually they're going to shift back into being a victim because they'll have gathered more evidence of why this must not be working.
Yes. Stay in survivor mode long enough, you shift back into being a victim. Good point. And a lot of you guys are saying in the chat too, it's possible to show up to every call and all the events and not grow if you're fake working, meaning you appear to be working. Maybe you somewhat work, maybe you show up on social media, throw a post up now and then, but you're not actually doing the work of reaching out to people about your products, reaching out to people about your opportunity, or following up with people about your products or opportunity. All right, he says that survivors are not really effective with their time, which is interesting because we talked about on our leadership table call tonight about time management. But in network marketing, describe somebody who is being effective with their time. And how does that compare to somebody who is not being effective with their time? What does somebody who is being effective with their time look like? What are they doing? And somebody who's not being effective with their time, what do they look like?
Well, the person that's being effective with their time is getting the most important drivers done to move the business forward, talking to new people about Plexus, following up with people about Plexus, and teaching others to do the same. The people that are not being effective with their time is they're thinking about Plexus all day long. They're thinking about how to grow. They're consuming training videos. They are writing great posts. They are coming up with trainings. They're, fill in the blank. They're doing anything they can be doing except for talking to people about Plexus, following up with people about Plexus, and teaching others to do the same.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Yes. They're not doing the actual, if you are being effective with your time, then you're doing things that are putting dollars in your bank account. If you're not being effective with your time, you're probably being very reactive. Any request that comes up for your time, attention, or brain space, it gives you a little dopamine hit. and you respond to it immediately versus prioritizing the most important things and actually moving the needle forward in your business. People who are effective with their time are proactive. People who are not effective with their time are reactive. All right, what does it look like when someone's actions are matching their goals? That was a phrase he used in the book. Actions match their goals. What does it look like if somebody's actions match their goals?
In this business, I mean, they're ranking up. They've got lots of new joins. They've got duplication happening.
Yes. Yes. And again, they're being proactive with their time. They're prioritizing the most important things, and they're not living reactively and responding to every single request for their time, attention, or energy. All right, how to tell if you are a survivor. Here's your litmus test. Fill in the blank. If I just keep blank, I will reach my goals eventually. If that blank is anything other than taking effective action, then you are surviving. Because survivors have enough vision that they don't quit, but conquerors have enough vision that they take massive action in the income producing activities. All right, so let's talk about conquerors. So conquerors eventually get sick and tired of just surviving. They get sick of being frustrated. They get fed up and they change. So describe a time where you have experienced this and what action you took to change your situation and what was the result. Have you ever had a time where you were just fed up and you're like, I'm done with this. I'm doing it. I'm changing. I'm doing it.
Does it have to be business? You want business examples?
Yeah, I think business specific for this question.
I'll go. I'm in that right now. Completely frustrated. And I posted, it's Katie versus Amy, because Katie is time management and does all the things. Amy is chaos. And so the action that I've taken is I've got a, Christian counselor. I'm working through some past things. That's what's holding me back. What are my fears? All those things. I'm also working, and she's helping me get organized. And that's what I was like, okay, I get so frustrated because everything is just chaos, because I'm completely reactive. This whole reaction, this is just like the light bulb. It's like, that's exactly my life is I'm reacting in everything, whether it's eating, whether it's business, whether it's my family, my husband, all the things. It's just everything instead of being proactive. And so, and then the enemy has got me convinced that it's too far gone, that I can't do anything. And that's with my counselor told me, just take this one thing and do it right now. Take this one thing. And so that is just, so I'm in it, but I feel like I'm feeling like I'm coming to the surface. There's still a straw and I'm still barely breathing, but I feel like I'm coming to the surface.
Well, I'm so proud of you for going to a Christian counselor, Amy. I think I've done that many times, and I think probably most of our jewels have, because this business does tend to bring to the surface a lot of things that we would prefer to keep buried. But it definitely can bring up poor habits. It definitely can bring up insecurities and, past hurts and all kind of things. And so I love that you are on that path to healing and growing, and absolutely not far gone. Absolutely not too far gone. As long as there's oxygen in your lungs, then you're not too far gone. You can change. God made us to change. And sanctification, which is just becoming more and more like Christ, that's a lifelong process. That will never, ever stop. we should always be striving to grow, always be striving to improve. And so I'm proud of you. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you. Yeah. Yeah, this business, I mean, and I've been in network marketing, but I've never allowed the demons that I have tucked away, I've never allowed them to come out. And these last year and a half they've come to the surface, but we're conquering them.
Well, I'm proud of you. So proud of you. I love that growth and that determination and grit. Anybody else ever had a time in your business where you just were sick and tired of surviving and you took action to change it? And what was the result? I have many stories about this. But I would love to hear some of y'all's if you have one.
I'm also currently in that season right now, I feel like.
Okay.
Coming up to convention, this is going to be my 3rd convention, and every year the last 2 years that I've gone, I have said, okay, I'm going to come back Ruby. Going to come back Ruby. That's my goal. I'm going to come back Ruby. And here I am, still gold. So I've been feeling very, very frustrated about that, and it's brought up a lot of just like mindset stuff that I've been battling lately. And so over the last probably like 2 months, I've just started looking at, analyzing like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my time? Where am I the time, like at the time blocking that I'm doing, is it actually focused time? And am I getting done what I want to do? And like, what are my distractions during the day? So like everything very practical, I would say. I started reading the book Home Management. I read Habits of the Household. And so I'm kind of revamping everything around my business. Like I know what I need to do. I know my IPA, like I know I need to do my social media. I know I need to grow. I know I need to do those things, but I'm allowing too many variables outside of that. So I'm just trying to really nail down like what my routine is with my kids and setting more clear boundaries with them, and communicating more with my husband, and like making sure that we're on the same page with things. So just kind of like being organized in all areas of my life.
Love it. So is the changes that you're trying to make, are they uncomfortable?
Yes, they're hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to set boundaries with kids. I mean, it's not like I haven't ever tried that before, or like that we haven't been doing things like that, but I feel like I've just been honing in on it a lot more. And I would say that's kind of maybe like a weakness in the communication between my husband and I, is like what he has set as a boundary and what he allows the kids to do versus what I do. And then like having to find a happy medium so that I have time to work, but I'm still able to be present with the family, and it, just being consistent with those things.
Yeah. Well, frustration is often the catalyst for change. And so I can hear that in your voice, and I'm excited to see the results that come about because of the changes that you're making, because of, you're saying, I'm just frustrated. I'm tired of being where I'm at, and I'm ready to make changes. I'm ready to grow. And I mean, I've been in that place many times in my business, Emily, many times. And I'm actually going to record a podcast about this week, about determination and what that actually looks like. So anyways, thank you for sharing that. All right, well, let me ask this last couple of questions here because we're about out of time. But this was a good part. Conquerors seek to inspire change in others because of the change they have witnessed in themselves. What change have you witnessed in yourself? And does it make you want to inspire others that they can change too? What change have you witnessed in yourself since you've started your business?
Oh, I'll go. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. No, you got to go and then I got to go.
Sorry. First off, I have
can't
a
wait.
lot.
I'm on the
But my
edge of my
first-
seat.
First thing is like caring what people think. Well, I still care what people think, y'all, but I used to obsess about what people think. And I wish I could tell. That's one thing I wish I could go back and tell my younger self. And that's why I reach out to younger people, because I'm like, your life will be so much better if you can learn to like know what God says about you and stop obsessing about what other people say about you, because it changes everything. That's one thing. I got like 10 more, but go ahead, Michelle.
Well, it's all about just, I mean, my personal mission is helping others be, do, and have all that God has for them. And I felt like for most of my life, I was emotionally constipated. When I was a homeschooling mom, I didn't allow myself to dream. I buried my wants and my desires. And who I am now, I am more alive in myself and who God created me to be because of this business, single-handedly because of this business, than I ever have been in my entire life. At 51, almost 52 years old. And that's just me being a steward of what God's given me. And becoming who you are and growing and shining and developing your potential allows others to do the same. So when I say like this is a fire in my bones, that sentence more than any other about Conquerors was like, OMG, yes, because you got one life to live. So let's live it instead of being emotionally constipated and just quiet all the time. Anyway, and somebody else wants to
Yeah,
talk.
'cause you're quiet all the time, Michelle.
I used to be more quiet.
I'm just kidding. I've never known you to be quiet. I've always known you to be a strong leader. Like I've always looked at you as just strong, and leadership is definitely what I think when I think of Michelle Stuchel. But I also see the change and the growth in you too, Terry. It really in all of us. I mean, in all of us, because you have to change to grow. And when you have vision and commitment, you're just willing. You're willing to do the work on yourself. You're willing to do the work on your business. And that creates change. And it ultimately it builds your confidence. So yeah, I love that, y'all. All right. I had some really good questions and we're out of time. And I'm really struggling to like cut this call off. And I'm really debating internally, should I keep going or should I quit? But I said I was going to do 45 minutes and it's been 45 minutes. So I'm just going to tell y'all these questions and y'all can think about them. Okay. So I really wanted to ask this to the Jules because I thought it would be very beneficial for y'all to hear their answers. But Jules, please type your answers in the chat. What series he talks about complete accountability. As a conqueror, you take complete accountability. What series of actions produced the results that you are now enjoying? And what series of actions will produce the result that you want a year from now? All right, next question is,
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
sorry, Siri, I wasn't talking to you. Okay, he says conquerors commit to growth and they set aside time to work on their mindset. So my question for you guys is, what time have you set aside to work on your growth and your mindset? And I think a lot of you already do that. If you're not, then I want to encourage you to add that habit in. Okay. So next week, we're going to talk about chapter 5. It's just one chapter, the Conqueror's Formula. And we're going to talk about changing your mindset. That's the title of the chapter, changing your mindset. So it's a really good chapter. Lots to apply there. That's why we're just going to do one chapter. But I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this call tonight and out of this book. And I'm excited that we are going through this together, that we are applying it together, and that ultimately we are growing together. I think the team that grows together stays together. I know that doesn't rhyme, but I think it's true. All right. See y'all later. Good night.